Well, guys, that was an entertaining race, but it was entertaining for the wrong reason, and actually a bit sad of reasons as well. Obviously, Charles Leclerc had an unbelievable weekend. Ferrari topped every single session, all the way through the Friday practice sessions, all the way through the Saturday sessions, P3, and obviously the qualifying sessions. They were looking like the dominant force in this weekend, and obviously it didn't go that way. So Charles Leclerc, as I say, yesterday had an unbelievable qualifying session. He put that Ferrari on pole, a really fast time in front of Sebastian Vettel. He set a new track record of 1:26. Actually broke that quite a few times and matched, and as I say, even broke Sebastian Vettel's lap record from last year. Really, really incredible. He also, as I say, got pole position in his second race for Ferrari, in his 22nd race in Formula 1. Became the youngest pole sitter for Scuderia Ferrari, obviously since he came into Formula 1 back in 1950, and became the second youngest pole sitter behind his teammate Sebastian Vettel. And they all did this as younger than me, so obviously that makes me really happy. So as I say, Charles Leclerc had an unbelievable race weekend. It was already incredible at that point. 2 races with Ferrari was insane, and we rolled into today with high hopes. We all thought that Charles Leclerc was going to win the race, and what happened was just really upsetting. To be honest, Lewis Hamilton did win the race. Yes, Mercedes did get a 1-2. It is happy for them. Obviously, jubilation, they do gain 43 points from this weekend, obviously extend their lead in the Constructors' World Championship. But it's got to be upsetting because the man that we thought was going to win finishes in 3rd place. It was really just upsetting to watch. I think nobody wants to watch that. They were interviewing team principals. They said it was hard to watch. Lewis Hamilton, obviously, yes, he's going to be celebrating, but it's going to be really, sympathetic for not just Charles Leclerc, but everyone who works in that Ferrari garage. Really upsetting for them. A lot of sympathy goes out to them. Yes, the race was entertaining, but obviously for Charles and for Formula 1 fans, it just was not great to see. So obviously, let's start with what happened in the race. Obviously, we rolled in today, really excited for this race. I got a text from Jordan this morning saying, we're excited for this race. It's going to be one of the best. As I say, we rolled in with Charles Leclerc on pole. Youngest Ferrari pole sitter in its history, was just a really big achievement. We started the race. Sebastian Vettel got an unbelievable start off the grid. He managed to jump Charles Leclerc in the first few seconds of the race. Obviously led for the first few laps. Charles Leclerc just fitted into 2nd place, obviously keeping the Mercedes and the Red Bull at bay. He came to lap 5, and Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc started scrapping with each other, trying to basically get the lead of the race. Sebastian Vettel, obviously, as I say, who was leading the race at that point, got taken by Charles Leclerc on lap 5, and he regained the lead, and he stayed like that for about a good 2/3 of the race. It was really impressive. The biggest lead that they had over Sebastian Vettel was 9 seconds, and yeah, it just looked like an unbelievable drive from him. And basically, we were all thinking halfway through the race that Charles was going to win the race. It was almost excitable faces at Ferrari, even as I say, halfway through the race. It was really great. Sebastian Vettel in 2nd place. It was looking like Ferrari 1-2. They were going to get the points to basically contest with Mercedes, kind of just scrap Australia and say, right, okay, we're on level peggings again, and we're going to start fresh in China. Obviously, that was not the case. So Sebastian Vettel was in 2nd place, and he was keeping Lewis Hamilton at bay. He was doing a very good job of it as well. Valtteri Bottas caught up to 4th place to make it 2 Ferraris and 2 Mercedes straight. About lap 55, Sebastian Vettel unfortunately span around the car while he was trying to battle with Lewis Hamilton in corner 3. On the way back to the pit lane as well, he also injured his front left tyre, which was caused in the spin, but also managed for the front wing to actually be oscillated and collected underneath the car in quite a dangerous and sparky kind of almost crash with George Russell just along the back straight, for which obviously meant that Sebastian Vettel did drop down in places. He lost 2nd place to Lewis Hamilton. So obviously at this point it was Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton heading into the 3rd part of the race around lap 40. As I say, just passing lap 40, we got a message from Charles Leclerc, who was dropping in pace, you could see by the screens, and he basically reported to the team that he was feeling that the car was losing power. They unfortunately had to tell him that the ERS was unfortunately not working on the car. And the ERS, I'll just tell you quickly, is basically the charging, because these cars are kind of hybrid, it's basically the charging of the kinetic energy, which is picked up and stored by under braking, is then used on the car. So obviously, when you see those 3 red lights that flash on the back of the cars, that basically means that the ERS is then charging obviously more power. I think it's around 80 brake horsepower equivalent, which is given out by the cars, and obviously Charles Leclerc did unfortunately drop that. It was really, really unfortunate to hear. I think every Formula One fan, when they heard it, kind of just, oh god, it really, really was absolutely painful to see. We all basically knew at this point that, yes, he can manage the car, yes, he can manage his tyres, which, he's been doing an amazing job, obviously, through the really hard race. As I say, it wasn't just the actual race itself, it was because the wind had picked up before the race, it was blowing a lot of debris on the racing line, so it was quite hard to manage the tyres. A very tyre-friendly can't think of the word now, like, it was really hard on the tyres in this race. Obviously, so he had that to contend with as well. But when he told the team, that was just absolutely insane. And we all knew that there was going to be a lot of problems. But nevertheless, he tried to nurse the car, obviously, as best as he could. He was overtaken by Lewis Hamilton in the next few laps, obviously, after he gave that radio message. The Ferrari car was looking really slow down the main straight, obviously, while the Mercedes car obviously had all of its power, and it also was aided by DRS. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix within a few laps and just extends his lead over Charles Leclerc around 14 seconds. Towards the end of the stage of the race, obviously he was caught by Valtteri Bottas, so it made Lewis Hamilton obviously the leader and obviously then the eventual winner of the race, Valtteri Bottas in second place and Charles Leclerc in third place. To be honest, that was only saved because a safety car came out a few laps before the end. The safety car actually came out because both Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg both had engine shutdowns at the same corner, which I've got to say just added a bit of comical relief to the end of the race. Obviously, they ran out. They weren't on the track, but obviously the safety car had to come out 3 laps before the race ended, and obviously then that just had to mean that the race was finished behind the safety car. That was a saving grace for Charles Leclerc. He managed to get into third place and get on the podium. If not, he probably would have been caught by Max Verstappen, who obviously was gaining him. I think he was only about 2 seconds behind him at that point. So at least he finished on the podium. But guys, it was just really, really upsetting to see Charles Leclerc, have all those problems. And as I say, go from dominating the weekend, dominating qualifying, lap records, and just set all these, precedents in Formula One, to obviously having to, unfortunately, yield to Ferrari's just not bad car, but just woes. I want to say it's a bit of unlucky. It's Ferrari just have really just fallen unlucky this weekend. As I say, I don't feel just sorry for Charles Leclerc. I feel sorry for everyone who's worked at Ferrari. I feel sorry for the team wall. I feel sorry for even Sebastian Vettel as well. What was supposed to be a Ferrari 1-2 turned into just an absolutely terrible weekend for them both. Obviously, he still picks up points. He also picks up 1 point for the fastest lap. So he picks up 16 points overall in this race. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas picks up 18 points. So obviously, it's quite close to him. And then obviously 25 for the race winner, Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, it was a Mercedes 1-2, obviously, which means they do walk away with 43 points from this weekend. They extend their lead at the Constructors' Championship at 87, obviously over Ferrari. They do get the extra helping from Charles Leclerc, but as I say, they could have got so more. They could have got 44 points, like Mercedes did. It just was really, really upsetting from that. Right, so next thing is I'm going to read out some notes that Jordan has sent me through about the race. So he says, driver of the day is Lando Norris. Great battles with the drivers and keeping Kimi at bay. Or Charles Leclerc. So again, like me last time, I think he's given a bit of an honourable mention. Charles Leclerc definitely is the driver of the day. He has been voted the driver of the day by the Formula One. Now, it obviously he didn't win. He came third. Great battle for what he's done in that car. It's kind of like he has definitely deserved it, but I think he definitely deserves it more when you think about its driver of the weekend as well. Because as I just said, guys, at the start, he dominated. Friday practices. I don't know which ones he got, but the ones he didn't get was Sebastian Vettel, and the ones that he didn't get, he was in second place. It was absolutely insane. He dominated the whole weekend. Today was really unfortunate, but nevertheless, he would have won the race if Ferrari didn't have the problems. So I definitely agree with Jordan there. Driver of the day, or driver of the weekend even, is Charles Leclerc. Race rate 9 out of 10. That's good. That's a very strong race. Remember, this is the last race as well in triple figures as well. Kind of the first chapter, closing the book in the first chapter of Formula One. So yeah, I'd definitely agree with that. Great drive from Charles Leclerc to get back into the lead after a shaky start. Carlos Sainz was running well until he had contact with Max Verstappen. So basically on, I think it was lap 4, Carlos Sainz had an unbelievable. He was aided by DRS, and he had a great lead out of corner 1. Obviously going off corner 2 and corner 3, obviously into the very late break, obviously where Sebastian and Lewis nearly collided. Carlos Sainz had a great run, as I say, from DRS, a great slipstream, and obviously that Renault engine was really, really good. To say that the Honda engine obviously unfortunately was a little bit slow. Verstappen, great driver, like we said in the preview, he's a real diamond in the rough, but obviously Gasly did struggle as well. So yeah, Carlos Sainz had a great run at Max Verstappen, passed him for a few seconds, but as I say, they made contact around, I think it was just after coming out of corner 4, and then obviously yes, Carlos Sainz had to go off with a broken rear wing. So great drive from Red Bull, ahead of them, getting ahead of the Mercedes of Bottas on lap 13. Shame to see Grosjean retire. Yes, he was the first actual retiree of the race. Obviously, he did very well in Australia as well. The Haas's do well in Bahrain. I remember 2016, he got a points finish there. Obviously, the second one of Haas's career. Lewis Hamilton, the second duck, struggling with his tyres, and Vettel gets on him on lap 24 in the new DRS zone. Hamilton not with it today. Good job from Lando Norris, battling with the 2007 world champion. Obviously, Lando Norris, definitely a big star for Jordan. I thought he did really, really well today. Also, I think he had a great week, and he's definitely someone to really look after. Obviously, the oldest against the youngest. Red Bull struggle in this race, nothing flash over either driver. Max Verstappen, as I've just said, definitely a diamond in the rough driver. I think he can kind of do well in anything. Pierre Gasly really struggling in what he has for the car. 13th in qualifying yesterday as well. It just was really just bad from him. I don't think they're even... It's kind of like he's in a different league. And again, like I said in the preview, it's like the 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris, and 1 Red Bull of Verstappen. Gasly's not even kind of in that fight, which is a bit of a shame. Hopefully he can get back to obviously being the number 2 driver at Red Bull. How they should be. That's where Red Bull should be. Vettel's 28 Demons giving him a visit after his spins. It was very much like the United States Grand Prix spin caused by nobody. They said on the team radio, they said on the commentary that it was like a bit of pressure that Hamilton was putting him under. But again, you shouldn't have to spin. I mean, that's just a little bit too bad. I hope he doesn't do stuff like that, because me and John did say in 2018 he had a few quite stupid mistakes. Obviously, that wasn't great. Leclerc had engine issues and was probably the most heartbreaking overtake I've ever seen. Obviously, he means Hamilton when he overtook Leclerc. Yes, it was horrible to see. Disaster for Ferraris, but no fault of their own. Seb spinning, obviously dropping back. I think it was P6 that he finished, and then obviously P3 for Leclerc. Both Renaults retire at the same time. Madness. I guess in a funny way. I did find that very, very funny. The safety car saved Charles Leclerc's race, definitely, because as I say, Max Verstappen would have definitely caught him. Sainz retires again, no comment. I don't want to say he's getting it in the neck, but I've got to say he's a little bit like the Fernando Alonso this year, and obviously being Spanish, it just helps it even more. That's where the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, Carlos. Mercedes 1 and 2 again, Charles Leclerc 3rd. No comment on that, but there's not much to say about that. And then obviously roll on race 1000. What was heading into being an unbelievable race, and it was exciting, as John just said, 9 out of 10 there. I would probably say the race was probably about, I wouldn't put it as high as a 9. I'm going to say it's an 8, an 8.5 at a push. Again, just a disappointment of Charles Leclerc not winning. Yes, we are British, but we don't like Lewis Hamilton winning. Winning all the time is a bit boring. And obviously, yes, it is quite hard to do. We don't blame Lewis Hamilton for overtaking him. Of course he is. Lewis saw the win there. Of course he's going to take. He's not going to be playing nice and say, Charles, I'll push you towards the finish. But it just was unfortunately heartbreaking. Lewis probably thought he was in between a rock and a hard place, having to overtake Charles for the win. It just was absolutely heartbreaking to see. But yeah, nevertheless, obviously, great weekend, great turnout, fantastic, and obviously to close the last race in 3 digits was just absolutely insane. Yeah, just really a special race all around, really, really great. And obviously, yeah, as Jordan just said, last thing, roll on race 1000, obviously, which is the Chinese Grand Prix, the next round. So obviously, that is the end of the review show. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, make sure to like and subscribe. Obviously, keep on track with us. We'll be doing the preview and the review shows all the way through the season. Obviously, if you haven't checked it out already, please go and check out the F1 debate show yesterday, which was episode 109, where we talk about Danny Kvyat, who had a promising start to the race, obviously before his collision, but you know, that's just it. But they've been talking about him all weekend. Hopefully he can bring something back. He is definitely a driver with a vengeance to get back to Red Bull. But yeah, entertaining race, I guess, but it's just added more spice into the 2019 season. Obviously, as I say, Lewis and Seb's Lewis is back on terms. Seb has really got to catch up, and obviously Mercedes looking like they are running into the distance. And yes, obviously, we hope you can stay on track with us. Thank you for watching this episode, and yes, roll on episode 1, race 1000. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.